Hi, my name is Joe Connolly. I was raised in Pittsburgh. I'm the youngest of a family of 5 siblings. I knew I was gay from a very early point in my life, but I didn't act on it. I knew that my faith was something that didn't allow that to happen. Yet we were always told as children that we were made in the image and likeness of God.
My name's Terry Pochert. I was born in the great state of Michigan, and again, from a very early age, I knew that I was different. Grew up in a farming community where you didn't really have a lot of contact with a lot of gay people, so my friends, my circle was my friends in high school. I was also raised in a very religious household, very strict form of Lutheranism. So really couldn't talk too much with my family, my friends, my pastor about all my feelings. But I still was able to communicate with my friends pretty freely.
All I ever remember wanting from the time that I was a child was a relationship like my parents had, but with another man. It took me a number of years to find that person, and I found that relationship in my partner, Terry. We have been together 19 years now. In 2003, when Massachusetts allowed same-sex marriage to occur, shortly after that time, we went to Jerome and we purchased our wedding rings that we have on today. It was our symbol of hope during that time. We had hoped that Arizona would allow us to marry soon.
Mm-hmm.
So we waited until 2008, and when the window in California opened, we decided we couldn't wait any longer for Arizona. So
we zoomed off to Riverside, California to get the marriage license. And so that was quite a cool experience, actually. And then a few months later, we zoomed off to San Francisco. And we were very fortunate to have Pastor Stotts also officiate at our wedding in San Francisco at St. Mark's Lutheran Church. Very historic church in San Francisco. And we had some good friends there as witnesses, and kind of a very special day because it was July 4th, and we found out that the entire United States sent fireworks off for us on that day.
we have been together, as I said, for almost 19 years. We hope that we're together for another 19 or another 50 years. But we know that there's going to come a time when we're not together. One of us is going to pass away. And we have made this commitment in California. We want this commitment here in Arizona. When we die, we want our spouse's name on our death certificate. Whoever goes first. I mean, this is to death do us part. And that's why we're doing this here in Arizona. For us, this is now a personal freedom of religion issue. Our denomination allows it, but our state is preventing it. So that's another aspect of this. It's important to us, and it's important to others here in Arizona in denominations where same-sex marriage is allowed, but the state is denying us that access. In 1996, shortly after I moved in with Terry, Terry had to have a medical procedure, and that medical procedure involves surgery, back surgery, and as part of the preparation for that back surgery, they had to perform what was called a myelogram, and they basically did a tap into his spine. I was his primary caregiver after the surgery. Fortunately, during that time, his family, his mother and his sister, included me in the discussions with the doctor at the hospital. So the surgery was a success. But we got home, and about 3 or 4 days later, there were complications. I had to rush home from work, pick Terry up, and get him to the hospital. At that time, his family wasn't with us. The myelogram that they performed had actually started leaking spinal fluid from his spinal column, and he was losing his hearing. He was losing his...
It was actually a test before the surgery, but yeah, it started leaking. All I can remember is I think I called you at work saying something's very wrong. And all I remember, Joe rushing home and then driving me to the hospital. And by the time we got to the hospital, I don't remember much. I just collapsed at the hospital, in fact, I lost all my hearing and most of the eyesight. So all I can remember being there and wheeled into the operating room.
And from that point, I wasn't permitted any access to the behind the scenes because I wasn't a legal spouse, I wasn't family. No one really kept me updated during that time. So I waited in the waiting area, really not knowing what was going on with him behind the scenes. So for us, this is an important step in making sure that we take care of each other, that we know what's going on with the well-being of our partner.
And all I can remember is some of the doctors, they had to pull blood out of another part of the body and then they injected around the spine to create what they call a blood patch. And finally, coming out of it was very good. And something kind of amazing, when you kind of go to that edge a little bit, and then when you wake up to find Joe there, that's who I wanted to be there. And it sort of kind of sealed our relationship a little bit, for me especially, and we just knew we had to be together.